said goodbye. Welcome back.
Daily Show, 1031. Elaine Kane is the superintendent for Alton Community Unit School District number 11. I almost typed that out right. I always forget to put unit in there, you know.
I don't think anyone misses it if you leave it out.
How's everything been to start the school year?
It's been a fantastic start to the school year.
Well, everything's looking great at the high school campus. The field up there, I wish I had, you know, the turf up there.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
But, you know, it seems like there's a lot of good energy right now around the school district. And as it sits, how's things just overall pretty good?
Yeah, we've had, like I said, it's just been a pleasant start to the school year. Our students came back upbeat and optimistic, as did our staff. And so we've just, you know, we've really remarked that we're grateful that things are just going really well.
Well, and now right in front of me, you do have one of the cell phone pouches that
Yes.
and now are they at every school within the district?
Just the middle school and high school.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And now these are to be locked throughout the entire day, correct?
Correct.
And does it go by a class basis to where, you know, you have to take them out and then you go back into your new class and you set them in a different...
No.
Oh, cool. Okay, this is interesting. I'm learning today.
Yeah. So these are Yonder pouches. And so we announced in the spring that we were going to be cell phone free for our entire instructional day. So that includes in between classes and at lunch. And so in the morning at the middle school and the high school, students store their pouches. I was actually at the high school this morning. So every student is issued a pouch. The pouch has a magnetic closure. And so they store their phone before they walk into the building. And, you know, we have open gate systems, so they pass their phone around because the open gate is triggered by a cell phone or a Chromebook. And then at the end of the day, at dismissal, they find one of these unlocking mechanisms, and then it's just a magnetic
Pop out. Okay.
Yeah, pops out.
Well, and now, see, I think it makes total sense to me. I really do. And that's coming from me, who was the most distracted student in the world. You know, and I said it whenever you guys implemented the policy that it's going to take some time to get used to because we were all so used to having, you know, the phone right there. But I think it's great. It gives more interaction time between students and, you know, more time to really focus on what matters the most.
And, you know, it is a big adjustment, which is why we started the communications early. And that's why our response really, if students are struggling with the expectation, our response is to help them become successful in this setting. But you know, just like we know, people will do what's expected of them. And so our students have adjusted really quickly and really well. We're very happy about how things are looking and feeling at Alton High School and Alton Middle School. Now, the elementary students never had phones on their person or in their classes, so that wasn't a place where we were storing, but it was definitely a middle school and high school habit. And we know that those phones are designed to compel people to look at them, right? And so helping to overcome that compulsion is part of the pouch system, but also leaving the phone in the student's possession. So this way, your phone's with you all day.
Right.
You don't have to worry about it being lost or misplaced or stolen because you still have your own phone, but you also don't have access to it during the school day.
I think it's a really good thing, and I also think it helps with slowing down too, because, you know, if things maybe go a little wonky with a friendship or you never know what happens in middle school and high school, we aren't right away responding. We can catch our breath a little bit and come up hopefully with a better solution to that too. And I think it's a really smart plan. And now, have you been able to kind of just take a look at the atmosphere since the pouches and just take me through that, comparatively speaking to your time before it?
Well, there's so many anecdotal stories coming from the high school and middle school, and really a lot of students have said that it's much easier for them to focus in class. But the very first day, the very first passing period, it was striking how many good mornings and how much eye contact. You just realized how often you were looking at the top of someone's head as they're walking.
Right.
You know, they get out of class and they're on their phones. And so that's been wonderful. The very first day at lunch, we had students who had brought Uno and games to play at lunch where they're having fun with their friends. We had students start a book club. And so they're all reading the same book and they sit together at lunch and talk about the book. Our librarian has said that she's never had so many books checked out ever all year, let alone at the beginning of the year. So we know students are utilizing the library, which is exciting. And our teachers, one of the teachers said that the very first class period, she looked up and she said, it just struck me. I've never seeing, the complete and total attention of every student,
right.
Because there's always somebody who's checking something really quickly on their phone. And so those pieces have been just really fun to see. And I think some of the parent feedback has been that they've noticed when their students come home, they're more interactive. So they're talking about their day because they've been interacting all day. And so those are the pieces, the move was not made for any negative reason. The reason we decided to go cell phone free is because we think it's the right thing to do. And sometimes the right thing to do is hard, but worth it, right? And so we did it because we want to set an excellent experience for our students on campus. And we believe that this is a step in developing the culture that we intend to create.
I think it's great. I really do. I think it's fantastic. And I'm glad that it's going off to that good of a start. And really, it's exciting to hear that there's more of those personalized and more, I guess you'd say, a traditional or old school approach to school. And that's going to the library and bringing in games and creating clubs. And I saw this over here because it takes me into my next point, this internship program. Fill me in on this because I saw a little bit about it. This is a great way for area businesses to come together and help the next up and coming generation of the Riverbend.
Yes, absolutely. So, our goal is to help students develop the skills that lead them to any opportunity they want to pursue when they graduate, right? So we're thinking about preparing our graduates. And one of the things that we know we need to do more intentionally is create opportunities outside of the school walls. And so we've done some of this through some pathways that we've developed that lead kids to endorsements on their diploma, for example, in medical professions. So we have students who are placed at the hospital. But we're really right now seeking partnerships to provide a broader range of internship experiences for students. And so we are partnering with the Alton Educational Foundation, and Dr. Christy Baumgartner is now their executive director. And so she created a handbook, an internship handbook. And what's happening right now is we're seeking interested employers who would consider having a student intern second semester. So the application process is happening first semester, and then there will be student applicants and even an interview process if the employer prefers. And then we're identifying students who can be placed in a work setting for second semester. And it's essentially 60 hours. We schedule the 60 hours in collaboration with the employer. So it doesn't have to be like you're thinking of the high school schedule. It's not like you go to the workplace for 50 minutes during 6 hour or 5 days a week, right? We can be creative with that schedule. So a student may have come to the workplace Tuesday and Thursday for 2.5 hours, and then they're out early Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Same thing in the morning. So it works really well in the morning and first thing in the morning and the afternoon. But we can even do creative things around lunch. And so that's, I think, a credit-bearing opportunity for a student. They get an elective credit for participating in that internship.
That's super cool and great experience as well. And what's the best way to reach out for that?
You know what? The best way, and I have a flyer here I'll have to give you for your...
I was reading it upside down.
Yeah, good. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a great skill to have. So really, the arrangements are being made you can email info@altoned.org. Or you can call 618-363-1038, and you'll get a hold of Christy Baumgartner, and she'll get you going.
That's really cool. And before we take a break, one thing I wanted to hit on was your new trades program. They're building a house at Alton High.
Isn't it wonderful?
This is so cool. Yes. How did this develop?
Yes. Well, here's the deal. We've had construction trades since I was in high school, and before. And the students in that class used to build a home. You would probably think of the J.B. Johnson Vocational Center, which is, still partially intact. That's what we built the high school around. And for the past about 20 years, they had scaled back from building homes, and they're still having construction trades. They were building sets for the plays. They were building ticket booths. They were building, the lending libraries that you see out in the community, but not a total home. Well, we really wanted to bring that experience back, right, from ground up.
Right.
I mean, that's an amazing accomplishment, and a lot of our graduates from my cohort back in the day will tell you, I built this house. You know, they still can drive by the homes they built and talk about it. So in conversation with Paul Yost of Tycon Builders, you know, we were talking about our goal to restore the home building program. Well, Paul is a graduate, and he said, you know, as I'm at this point in my career, it would be really wonderful if I could give back to the program that created my livelihood. And so he became our builder partner.
That's so cool.
And he had access to some lots in the Woodlands subdivision. But when he talked to the developers of the subdivision, they said, no, we want to go ahead and sell a lot to the high school. So our school board bought actually 2 lots in Woodlands subdivision. So we have home sites for this year, which they've already poured the foundation. I don't know if you're following them on Facebook, but
That's incredible.
I'm not kidding. I was out there the day the concrete trucks were coming and they had the forms up and the students were so excited. And they'll have a home this spring that'll be for sale.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it's going to be beautiful. I don't know if you've been out there, but it's a beautiful neighborhood.
And we'll link the Facebook page on the article, too, so you guys can follow along. But it's just one of those really cool things that I wanted to touch on before we come back from break. It's 10:42. We'll come back with a little bit more of Elaine Kane, the superintendent of the Alton School District, and we'll carry on this Wednesday after this one.
For the biggest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in the Riverbend, visit AltonToyota.com or stop by their location on the Homer Adams Parkway in Alton. Winner of the prestigious President's Award, Munganast Burkhardt Alton Toyota knows how to treat their customers, and they will help you find the vehicle that is perfect for you. For years, Munganast Toyota has been a fixture in the Riverbend, and now Munganast Burkhardt carries the tradition. New name, but the same great service you've come to expect.
Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Don't you ever leave. Lay down, Sally. I'm resting in my arms. Don't you think you want someone to talk to? Lay down, Sally.
Welcome back. 10:44. Superintendent Elaine Kane back in the studio. And, you know, as we're getting back into this conversation, you were talking a little bit during the break about your updated crisis management plan, which is always important to talk about because you never know when you need to know some of this information. And since this updated cell phone policy, you guys went in and reworked that crisis management plan, correct?
Exactly. A lot of the feedback and questions we received from parents in the spring was related to our communications if there's an emergency on campus. If their students aren't going to have their cell phones, then who is going to let parents know when something's going on campus? Well, the truth is we never relied on students to communicate in a case of an emergency. We were always communicating, but some of that was coming from rumor mill or student perception that maybe something was happening. And so our team attended a training alongside our Madison County Sheriff's Department partners and the Alton Police Department. And the training was provided by the Madison County ROE. And the standard response protocol is from the I Love You Guys Foundation. So it's a well-researched response protocol, and it's action-based. So we teach students that there are 5 actions. And if there's something going on campus, we would communicate to them what they need to do in response to the event on campus. But what you'll hear is one of the actions is hold. And sometimes students confuse if there's something happening outside the classroom and we hold up a passing period, immediately, the perception is we're on lockdown,
Yeah.
there's something really dangerous going on. But a hold could be for a number of reasons. For example, there could be a medical event happening with one single staff member or student. We'll hold students in the classroom so that we can tend to the medical event in the hallway. So when we say hold, students will know we're on hold, but they'll have a better idea that it's not a lockdown or something more accelerated.
And that happens more times than I think folks realize, because that happened when I was in high school with a teacher.
course.
And you're right, because all of a sudden you start texting everybody before the policy, and it's like, man, we're on lockdown. And all of a sudden, 4 minutes later, you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't have told everybody that,
Yes.
So it's good. It's good notes.
Yes. And it's, it's just the way it is, I mean, that is immediately, when there's an event, rumors, they
spreads.
and they accelerate,
Yeah.
right? And so that's a key action. Secure would be to be inside and lock the door. So this could be a secure might be there's an unidentified person on campus.
Gotcha.
Very likely no one's in danger, but you know what? We have a person on campus. We haven't, we're going to make sure the doors are locked just because until we identify that person on
The guy
campus.
was just chasing his dog into the school property.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
This type of stuff. Okay.
Right. Well, last year, here's a perfect example. Last year, there was a call into the Alton Police Department that a man was seen walking on College Avenue with a gun, with a rifle.
Yep.
Okay. So we go to secure. The person's not on our campus, but we go to secure out of an abundance of caution. When they find the person who was identified, he had a pool cue and a bag.
Oh.
And so there was never any imminent danger, but out of an abundance of caution, we go on to a secure. Well, that was mistaken as a lockdown as well, and it just was a secure, not just, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
being more. A lot of times we can't tell people the details behind the action, but we can tell you the action, and that can indicate the level of
severity.
concern.
Yeah,
Yes,
and I think that's
exactly.
a great note for the
Yeah.
parents to realize too, and understanding those terms are really important.
Absolutely. And we know you'll see me looking because I'm being very careful
You have
about
to.
the language and the language we use when we communicate, because we still have a lockdown response, right? Which is, lights out, doors locked, you're out of sight. And that would mean that we are very concerned about your safety and you need to be on lockdown in the classroom. Of course, there's an evacuation response, which could be, a gas leak or, it just depends. But we could relocate a group of students to another location within the school, which would be evacuation of the classroom, or we could evacuate a building. That's potential too. And we would be able to communicate with the action evacuate. And then shelter is related to a weather response.
Okay, that's
so
what I was
shelter would be
curious about.
tornado or, then they would go into the tornado. But shelter always comes with a note of which drill you're doing. We are doing lots of drills right now. So
bet.
our schools are teaching our students and our staff so that we're really comfortable at flexing through those responses.
My question, I guess now is in terms of, and I've seen it whenever I was in high school, and it happens all over because nobody thinks that they can protect their kids better in any situation than parents, and there's nothing wrong with that. But my question is, what's the proper protocol for parents to follow? If let's say there is a situation at school, name whatever you want to throw out there, we have to go on lockdown. I know that some parents, or if there's a evacuation thing, parents want to get up there and grab the kiddos, but I feel like that's not the best practice for your guys' safety procedures because you have to account for everybody. What do you recommend parents doing in a time of emergency situations?
Well, I really appreciate you bringing that up because we do another piece to this that I didn't mention is we have an app called Crisis Go.
I was going to ask you about
and
that.
so all of our teachers, all of our staff members have Crisis Go. And when we're practicing these drills, it's linked to our student information system. So in Crisis Go, it is directly connected to Skyward Student. So when there's like these drills that we're going through this morning, each teacher has a roster, whatever list of students is supposed to be with that teacher that at that time of that event, they can go through their roster and report out that those students are with them or who's not with them at that time. So we know the location of the student, or we don't know the location of the student during an emergency. But keep in mind, if there's an actual emergency, law enforcement becomes the command. Yeah. We are not the command, and so we're going to be following the direction of our law enforcement partner at that time. And we have, if there were an evacuation, we have a standard reunification protocol. Parents would be getting communication about what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
And I understand, we know our greatest responsibility is to keep our kids safe. I mean, we take that as our utmost priority. So, and I understand parents who want to advocate for their students, and we wish every student had a fierce advocate, right? So there's no problem. But I think also to keep in mind that if there were, to the point of student cell phones, our protocol, our response, if it's safe for students to access their phones, I can promise you we'll allow students to access their phone. But please allow the school and law enforcement to communicate what's actually happening in any event, because a bunch of parents showing up at the school, which, I don't think you were in high school when it happened, but we had that one year where students sent out this false bomb threat that had gone all across the United States. And it was a screenshot, and parents started showing up at the school because kids were like sending that same screenshot. Well, it had already been investigated. We knew it was a farce, and yet it disrupted the entire school day because, students, and I think some students were concerned, and I think some students were like, hey, this is a great distraction, let's get out of here. And we were communicating, there's no threat to your students' safety, we can assure you in this instance. And so I think keep in mind that we take your students' safety very seriously. We're not going to give you false reassurances. If we say it, it's because we know it's true. If we don't know, give us a minute to figure it out with our law enforcement partners.
I think that's really just a good point, especially for the parents to understand and identify the procedures that you already have in place, because that way it can be as efficient for everybody that's affected by that. But whatever situation, it could be gas leak all the way up to a more severe one, and it's good to know.
In this plan that we've developed, we also have, it has an opportunity to assign roles to district support personnel.
Cool. Yeah.
So if we had an event on campus, we've created these extended support teams where a group from our administrative center goes to the school, and we all have a role, and those roles are defined. And so someone is holding kids and keeping them safe. Somebody is checking in parents. Somebody is gathering, so we will have a system if we need it.
That's really important. And before I let you go, I've really appreciated your time.
Sure.
Is there anything else going on at the board level you want the public to be aware of yet, or how's this Board of Education working?
Well, I never miss a chance to show my gratitude for the Board of Education, because they are 7 volunteers. I mean, there's really no reason to get on the board unless you care about your schools and your community, right? Because it is, people think it's maybe 1 meeting a month, and it's usually about 50 meetings a year.
I was about to say, those are.
Yeah, yes. But our board, is comprised of 7 people who represent the community, who care about our kids and our staff. And we just have a really great working relationship. They've been very fiscally responsible, and so our schools are in wonderful shape. You've seen the improvements that have happened over the years, and those are all in an effort to support Goal 1, creating an excellent atmosphere for students and staff. And so I thank you for bringing them up, because they're an amazing team of people, and we just feel like we're really united and trending well right now.
Absolutely. When's homecoming?
October 10th.
You're good. Look at that.
I know. I'm making me second guess.
That's pretty impressive.
I believe it's October 10th and if that's a Saturday, that's the dance, and maybe the 9th is the game, and then the parade before the game. So yeah, we love homecoming.
That's really cool. I really appreciate your time, and really just to talk about these 2 important issues, because I think sometimes it's all about just having an accurate conversation with the folks that are putting on the policy, not just what you hear on Facebook and social media or what you hear through the rumor mill. So really appreciate it, seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate a chance to talk. Thank you.
We'll take a quick break, and we'll link everything in a write-up on RiverBender.com. I'll come back, and I do get paid to do this job, and wrap up this Wednesday morning right after this in the heart of the 6th.